Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Bleacher Report. Coming up here on today's show, Bleacher Report. Predicted landing spots for the top 2023 NFL free agents still available on the market. So what I figured I would do here is I said, all right, I'm going to look at what the Raiders apparently are going to do, and then I'm going to give you my reaction on it. So according to the Bleacher Report, the Raiders, they're going to sign Yannick Ngakoue. I know, it's a familiar name. And because of the familiar name, I decided to make a video on it. So today, I'm going to go through all the reasons why Bleacher Report thinks that the Raiders should end up signing Ngakoue, and then tell you whether or not I think it ultimately ends up going down. If the Raiders sign Ngakoue, if the Raiders make any kind of move whatsoever, you already know. We're going to be going live here on the Raiders Report. If you're looking for more free videos, hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications right now. So in terms of the article that was released, the Raiders, they signed Ngakoue. The prediction was that he ends up signing with the Silver and Black on a one-year deal. At the time that this article was made, the Raiders still had around $12.9 million left in salary cap space. The Raiders recently have signed Brian Hoyer, and because they've signed Brian Hoyer, it's going to be a little bit less than $12.9 million left in salary cap space. So you got Ngakoue, who no doubt is a premier edge rusher in the NFL, but how necessarily does he fit to the Raiders' plans with Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler? Bleacher Report believes that this is the reason why the Raiders would make the deal happen. This past season with the Indianapolis Colts, Ngakoue amassed 9.5 sacks and 27 quarterback pressures. A return to Indianapolis would make some sense because the Colts retained defensive coordinator Gus Bradley, and Ngakoue could find his way back to the Las Vegas Raiders. He was traded by the current regime last offseason in exchange for cornerback Rock Ya-Sin. That move came just after Las Vegas signed pass rusher Chandler Jones to a massive 3-year, $51 million deal. While Jones did begin to produce late last season, he didn't have the overall desired impact on the Raiders' pass rush. He finished with only 4.5 sacks, and while Las Vegas has 27 as a team in 2021, Ngakoue had 10 sacks and 36 quarterback pressures while playing opposite of Maxx Crosby. So essentially what Bleacher Report is saying here is that, hey, the Raiders, sure, they did sign Jordan Willis this offseason, but they still need edge rushing help. Re-signing Ngakoue would help make plenty of sense for the franchise that still has $12.9 million available. So we always know, man, at the end of the day, it comes down to getting after the quarterback. And you can say what you want about Yannick Ngakoue. He can get after the quarterback. But does that necessarily mean that he's going to be a player that Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler circle? And they say, that's a dude we got to go out and get. So here right now from Raider Nation, I want to know from all y'all people watching live, would you want the Raiders to bring back Yannick Ngakoue? Give me a yes or give me a no. I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's show. So please take a second, scroll on down while you're going to hit with that YouTube ad break, and let me know, would you want the Raiders to bring back Yannick Ngakoue? My answer is, of course, at the right price. And that's essentially what free agency always comes down to. If you got a proven player, excuse me, who's a reliable pass rusher and it's a need, all those things are in fact needed by the Silver and Black. You know you need a pass rusher. You know you need somebody that can get after the quarterback. And yeah, Ngakoue played on the Gus Bradley defense, and now you got Patrick Graham's. But to me, if you can still get him on a reliable price, on a reasonable price, you'd be stupid not to take him considering his production. I want Maxx Crosby to succeed. I want Chandler Jones to be that dude. But as it stands right now, I don't have a lot of confidence in Jones. I don't have a lot of confidence in Malcolm Koonce. I don't have a lot of confidence in Jordan Willis. So when you add up all of those things, sure, you had Ngakoue right now. He's your second best pass rusher next to Crosby, and I've talked to Crosby before. Crosby would love to have Yannick Ngakoue back on the team. From a career standpoint, this is what he's done. He's essentially had 29 tackles, 19 quarterback hits, and 9 sacks as an average. If I told y'all right now, you can add a defensive player to this team, and they're going to come away with 29 tackles, 19 quarterback hits, and 9 sacks for the season, would you accept it? Personally, I think you'd almost be crazy not to, because of all the struggles that the Raiders have had from a defensive standpoint. The Raiders need extra help on defense. There's just absolutely no doubt about that. And for Ngakoue, he loved being a Raider. Sorry, y'all. I'm still kind of sick. So the fact that you've had a player who knows exactly maybe what it takes to be a Raider, and this realistically caught a lot of people off guard when they traded him away for Yannick Ngakoue. The problem is, how much money does it cost? So the market value for Ngakoue is $14.8 million, according to Spotrac. And you got PFF as well at $12.5 million. So there's a lot of people out there being like, man, Mitch, I don't know if the Raiders are willing to give up $14.8, $12.5 million for Ngakoue. So how about this? We do just win babies. When there's a rumor out there, and when an article talks about the Raiders potentially signing a player, usually what I do, I go to the just win babies. So you can be me for a second. How many just win babies on the Las Vegas Raiders signing Yannick Ngakoue? Do you think it's 0? Do you think it's 1, 2, 3, or 4? If you don't know our rumor scale, it's this. 0 just win babies means tuck rule, tuck that. It ain't going to happen. 1, 25% chance. 2, 50%. 3, 75%. 4 just win babies means, believe it, baby, it's 100% chance that it's going to happen. So with that being said, Yannick Ngakoue, former Raider, how many just win babies on the Raiders going out and signing the free agent edge rusher? For me personally, I look at this rumor and I say this. Sorry, there is 0 just win babies. Tuck rule, tuck that. The Raiders will never sign Yannick Ngakoue. And if I'm wrong on this, I'm wrong on it. I'll end up doing some sort of a challenge that y'all give me. The biggest reasons why that I don't see this end up going down is the Raiders, they traded them away for a reason. Yes, they had an opportunity to get Rock Ya-Sin, but they also love Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones ain't going anywhere. And I also think that the Raiders, they want to go a little bit cheaper. So because of the fact that they want to go cheaper, they're not going to offer him a big contract. And you look at a lot of the other contracts that Yannick has gotten, he wants more money than what the Raiders would personally offer. If you've looked how the Raiders have managed free agency this entire offseason, they will not overspend for anybody. Unless, well, you're a Patriot, right? So I believe that the Raiders will only offer him around $5 to $7 million a year. And I have that number because you look at a lot of the other contracts that were given to other edge rushers out there. They're very much in the $4, $5, $6, $7 million range. There has been like one edge rusher, I think, Marcus Davenport, has got over $10 million. Marcus Davenport is the number 1 edge rusher in free agency. If he's getting $12 million, I'm sorry. Yannick Ngakoue ain't even sniffing that. And it's only because of how bad he is against the run. If you want a premier edge rusher, great. Ngakoue, I really truly believe if you were to sign him for the Raiders, if you put him in the right situations, you put him out there for 400, 500 snaps. I've used this term before on the Raiders Report. You put him in a Benson Mayowa role, that's how I think the Raiders would use him. And I don't think that that's necessarily the right way to use Ngakoue, because if you were to tell me Chandler Jones, Yannick Ngakoue both get 800 snaps this past season, Ngakoue is going to have more production. Why? And he might not be as good against the run as Chandler Jones, but as far as I'm concerned, I'd rather have an edge rusher that can get after the quarterback. When you look at his PFF grades from last season, he played in 730 snaps. An overall grade of 51.4, a run defense grade of 43.7, a pass rush grade of 56.9. It's because of how bad he has been against the run is why the Raiders traded him away. The Raiders wanted another edge rusher that could stop the run. They wanted that versatility. They don't want to bring somebody in. When you bring them in, that essentially tips off the offensive coordinator of the opposing team that, okay, if Yannick Ngakoue's in the game, 100%, they're going to be coming after the quarterback. They're not going to be trying to stop the run. And Ngakoue, whether you like to believe it or not, has always been very bad against the run. But I believe if you can find a premier edge rusher that can get after the quarterback, it's worth it. The Raiders, though, I don't know if they view it that way. I mean, look at the year in 2021. His PFF run grade was 28.2. I believe that was the worst in the NFL that season. Over the past 2 seasons, PFF has graded Yannick Ngakoue as actually one of the worst edge rushers in the NFL. I will admit, I don't agree with PFF's ratings at all, and I think at times we get too carried away with PFF's grades, okay? But I do think that you can meet in the middle. Do I think Yannick Ngakoue is one of the worst edge rushers in the NFL? No, I do not. Do I think because he's had over 8.5 sacks, 8 sacks every single season of his entire career, he's a premier edge rusher? He can get after the quarterback. However, I ain't paying him $10 million. I'm not paying him $9 million. And I am on board for the Raiders giving him 5, 6, or 7. I think one of the biggest reasons why Ngakoue is still out there on the market is because he's looking for that 12, 13, 14, because that's what premier edge rushers get. But when you consider the fact of how bad he is against the run, that is a concern for a lot of NFL teams out there. Now, if you want to be able to interact with me on social media, you already know there's one place where you can do it. You can hit me up on Locals, Raidersport.locals.com. You can also hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, and Cameo as well. I got a lot of content over on those places. And this shouldn't really surprise anybody. I'm literally Mitchell Rents 365 everywhere. One of the biggest reasons why I started this YouTube channel is because when people put out content, I wanted to be able to give my opinion. So hopefully y'all appreciated my opinion today. Hopefully y'all liked what you saw today on the Raiders Report. But at the end of the day, no, I do not see the Raiders signing Yannick Ngakoue.